Hello everyone, this is Gayle. I have a new look. Not me, my room. We've been snowed in here in Virginia for a while, had a big ice storm, and it's still out there. It just seems like it's never going to go away. And we were kind of confined to our house for about a week, and I thought, well, that gives me a good chance to redo my craft room. So I literally moved everything. And this is a new camera setup. I'm just giving it a try. I don't know how it's going to work. But because I've got this window behind me, you might see a cat back there. That's my cat's favorite place to go. Matter of fact, he's back there now. Can you see him? That's Nippet. So you will see a cat wandering around behind me because he loves his new layout because there's more things for him to climb on. But I'm working on trying to get an angle of the camera so that you can see me and the box. And so far I haven't come up with a solution. I've had my camera in about 3 or 4 different places and at 3 or 4 different angles, and I just thought it would be nice to see me and the box while I'm opening the box rather than me having to change my camera and you not be able to see me, because not that I'm that great to look at, but you know how it is. But if you have any ideas on a good camera angle, I guess I'll do some more research and try to figure out the best way to do this. But in the meantime, enjoy the snow and the ice that's out there. I know the whole country has been, or the whole eastern part of the country has been just frigid and have ice and snow. So it's probably something you've been seeing all along. But anyway, let me tell you a little bit about this month's box. The theme for this month is soap. So we're making soap this month. So I'm really excited about that. This will be the 3rd soap box that I've gotten. This is my 3rd year. And because of the different recipes we get, I always learn something new. That's one thing I love about Simply Earth. It doesn't matter how long you're in the company. You're going to always learn something new every month. So as much as I hate to rearrange my camera, I'm going to have to rearrange my camera so that you can see the box. So we'll see how this works. Be back in just a sec. Okay, here is my box. I did open it this time just because there were some things inside and I couldn't remember what I was getting. But I haven't opened the recipe box. I just opened the big box that it's in because, of course, I always add to my box. This month I added body wash powder, which I absolutely love. If you like to make your own body wash, their body wash powder is awesome. And some conditioning emulsifier, which is a wax that helps you blend other oils with your liquid, whether it be water or whatever. So and that's what this is. This is the conditioning emulsifier. You use this a lot in body care and in hair products. So I was almost out, so I ordered a new container. And then, of course, it's my recipe box. Oh, it's closed this time. It's been an exciting week trying to rearrange things in my craft room. I'm still not finished. When I'm finished, I'll probably do a reveal for my new craft room. Then here we go. There's my body powder wash. All right, so let's start off with the oils. We have lava, which is a blend. It's got grapefruit, blood orange, hoe wood, and sandalwood. So that's a good blend. Basil, I really like basil. A lot of people don't, but I like it. Blends so well with so many other oils. And tangerine, of course, I love my citruses. Tangerine is my favorite. I used to have a tangerine tree when I lived in Florida. And this is another blend, Sleepy. And Sleepy has lavender, grapefruit, bergamot, and hoe wood. I like this. I put this in my diffuser in my bedroom when I go to bed at night. So let's see what else we've got. We have a foaming hand soap tablet. You can make your own foaming hand soap. That's all I use anymore. I don't even buy hand soap. I make my own, and I love these tablets. Glycerin melt and pour soap. This is 2 ounces, and you can see it's in little cubes, so you can break it off however many you need. Some fuchsia mica powder. That's always fun. Oh, we got another foaming hand soap tablet. Okay. Of course, our labels. And my little information booklet. And then our recipes. So let's see what we're making this month. Oh, they've got a new cardstock they're using for the recipes now. This is slipperier than the other, which is kind of keeps it from getting all messed up when you're using it around your oils. All right, cotton candy sugar soap. That's interesting. Cotton candy sugar soap. So I'm going to have to try this one just because I don't know what a sugar soap is. I know sugar where we have sugar rubs and things. Citrus Breeze foaming soap. Ignite and Inspire diffuser blend. We always have a diffuser blend and a roll-on blend every month. And that's where your big bonus box comes in handy, because you have the bottle and the roll-on bottle in your big bonus box. But this is the Ignite and Inspire diffuser blend. Lava Love soap bar. That sounds like fun. Here's the roll-on, Sweet Slumber roll-on. And the very last thing on the card says, to use, apply to wrists as part of your bedtime routine to support rest. So if you don't want to make it into a diffuser blend, you can rub it on your wrists. And Silky Hand Saver Balm. That's another thing that I love their balms and their lotions and their creams. That you want to see my bathroom. I've just got them lined up on my sink because I use so many different ones. So this is going to be a fun time. Let's see what's on the back. Of course, this is the note from Katie. She always sends us a note every month. It says, "Hi, Earthy. Soap is one of those everyday essentials you don't usually think about until we realize how many harsh ingredients can sneak into store-bought versions. When I started making my own soap years ago, I was amazed at how fun and creative it could be and how much better it was for my family. This month's box is all about helping you experience that same joy. You'll make a bright foaming hand soap, a little melt and pour soap bar, a candy-colored sugar soap, and a silky balm to protect your hands after all that washing. Each recipe is fun, simple, and designed to teach you a new way to use soap and essential oils at home. Whether you're here because you want safer products for your family, a fun project to try, or a new creative outlet, I'm so glad you're joining me. I can't wait to see the beautiful soaps you make." And on our Facebook group, you'll see the soaps that the other people make. And I'm going to save this one. This is just, if you have questions about this month's box, it tells you where you can go to get answers to your questions. And there's tips here. These are some things that are, I don't know if it's exclusive to Simply Earth, but Oh dear, my cat just jumped up on my workspace. He hadn't done that before. Anyway, things that you may not know is you can add items to your box for free shipping. And if the recipe box ships free, the shipping on the... Hello, Nippet, this is my recipe box. Sorry about that. He's just so friendly and he likes to be with me. But I was talking about adding items to your box for free shipping because this ships free. Anything like this, the body wash powder fit in the box. But even when you order something like this that doesn't ship in the box, doesn't fit, it's still free shipping even if they put it in a larger box. So that's awesome. Not only that, but you get 10% off of anything that you add to your box. So say something is $10. If you add it to your box, it's $9. So you always get that 10% discount. You can exchange oils on your... If you're a recipe box subscriber, you have your own account of course, on their website. And you can look on there to see what's coming in the next month's box. And if there's something that you might have too much of, or just one you just plain old don't like, you can exchange it for $2. You can exchange it for another oil. Now, the reason they charge you the $2 is because these boxes are prepackaged. So they package up a bunch of them. So they're going to have to pull this out and exchange the oil. So it's just for the extra processing or handling, whatever you want to call it. You can gift a month. I could send one of these to someone and pay a lesser price, but I can send it to someone as a gift. And then that's the 10% discount it's talking about. And this is another thing. You're making a difference. Here at Simply Earth, we want to be world changers. That's why we donate 13% of our profits to organizations around the world to fight and end human trafficking. This month's donation is going to go to Freedom Cry, a Savoyan-based nonprofit fights human trafficking through prevention and trauma-informed training. They raise awareness in churches, schools, businesses, and support survivors with resources to rebuild their lives. Thank you for being a world changer. So this month we're doing Freedom Cry. This tells us about this month's recipe box. Sleepy, that I was telling you about that one. It calms, centers, and promotes rest. Tangerine promotes youthful skin, centers, and energizes. Lava energizes, uplifting mental clarity. Basil promotes youthful skin. Now see, there's tangerine and basil both promote youthful skin. So you want anything you use on your face, you might want to use those. And then the extras, the foaming hand soap tablet. Ditch plastic waste with our foaming hand soap tablet, a solution that transforms into luxurious, sustainable foam. And I can vouch for that. It does. It foams just like your big box store hand soaps. Glycerin melt and pour soap base. It's a DIY clear soap made easy. And fuchsia mica powder is a pigment to create pale pink to light bright fuchsia tones in your DIY products. So each of our recipes is created and tested by Aromatherapies. And this is something I sometimes forget to tell you. The value of the things that are in, the things here that are in, well, let me move all this back over here. The value of just this is $216 if you bought all these from a big box or even a essential oil company. But they're only $44.99. So you can't beat that. So it says you save over $156, which is true. You save a lot of money if you're a subscriber. Now this isn't what I was waiting for because it's a peek at next month's box. 100% pure essential oils are unicorn, which is a child-safe fragrance that Katie developed for her children. Downtime, geranium, which I love geranium, and juniper berry. Things you'll want from home. You want a 2-ounce bottle with a lotion pump cap, a 2-ounce jar, a face serum base, GeoGuard preservative. And the reason that, excuse me, the reason that they're giving you this is that you have time to add it to your next box if you want to order it from them. They have all these things in their inventory. Or you might have something at home that works just as well. And coming soon to Simply Earth, French green clay. When your skin feels congested, French green clay steps in to absorb impurities, minimize pores, and revive your complexion naturally. And I just happen to have bought some French green clay from them, so I'm anxious to try all this. So let me just look in here. Sometimes they have some interesting information here. No. It's the first time I've tried the video since I've moved my room, and he's so curious. He's back up here again. Zero to Hero. This is the free guide to melt and pour. Let me find where my camera is. There's a QR code if you want to download the free guide to melt and pour soap. And the new soap kit for this month is Sunset Float Handmade Soap. So the two fragrances that you would make are Citrus Burst and Coastal Cactus. So that ought to be interesting. But this is something, this is in addition to, this is not part of your kit. This is something in addition to that you're able to purchase if you want a whole kit that helps you step by step through. Can you see my cat? He's just crawling all over the place. And I forgot what I was saying. If you want to make soaps, here the DIY soap kit is awesome. There's a QR code for that if you want to use it. A lot of people like to use QR codes. And let's see. Wooden Heart Reed Bouquet Diffuser. And there's the diffuser. It's got reeds and little flowers that are in it with hearts on it. That's something that's available. So anyway, those are that. Now let me get rid of my kitty cat and well, he's going to lay down, so maybe we'll be okay. This, like I told you earlier in the video, I've been with Simply Earth for almost 3 years now. Or this is my 3rd year. And I have never regretted a month that, next month is going to be cleaning. So those of you that want to start using all new, all natural cleaning products, their cleaning products are awesome. So that's something to think about for next month. And the reason I say that is when I first signed up, I signed up with the intention of getting the recipe box, getting $15 off the recipe box, which would make it $29.99. Get the big bonus box that has almond oil, coconut oil, fractionated coconut oil, beeswax, and 6 roll-on bottles and 6 5-milliliter bottles to make your diffuser blends. And to get a $45 free e-gift card. That's why I joined. And my intention was to have my first month enjoy that box, use, get all these extra things, and then use my $45 e-gift certificate, and then I was going to cancel, because you can cancel at any time. It's no problem. Well, here I am 3 years later, and I am still, because every month I'd say, they tell you about the next month. Oh, that sounds interesting. Let me stay one more month. Well, I've been one more month for like 2.5 years now. I'm going to say almost 3, but 2.5. So it can be addicting, but it's also I feel good knowing that I'm creating things that are natural. I'm sorry, my cat's distracting me. He's looking up at my camera, so you might see a paw or a face or something in a few minutes. I don't know what he's going to do. He's never done this before, so this is a first for both of us. But what was I saying? Goodness, Nippet, you just messed me up. But let me show you a close-up of this kitty cat. Here's my kitty cat. This is Nippet. He's named after one of the Ewoks from Star Wars. The whole thing is so funny. He was born on March the 5th, so the girl was going to keep him for 8 weeks, so she wasn't going to let him go until May the 5th. So we asked if we could pick him up a day early so he could, be on May the 4th, be with you. She thought it was hilarious. So this is my Star Wars kitty. Now you can get down, I hope, and let me finish what I'm doing. I apologize for that. For those of you that are not animal lovers, that was probably very annoying. But I love my animals. I have a dog and 2 cats. But anyway, like I was saying, Simply Earth, you learn something new every month, even though I've had 3, like last month was the face. It was my 3rd box that I'd gotten on facial, care for your face. But I made something new in every one of them, and every one of them have been wonderful. You don't get the same recipes next year. You get entirely new recipes, and it's just been a great experience for me. I just wish I had learned about things like this back in my younger days, when it might have helped with it does help my skin, but let's face it, folks, I am not a spring chicken. And if I had started with this earlier, my skin would look even better now. But I will tell you, and I don't usually do this, I will be 80 in May. Yes, I'm going to be 80 years old. I know I don't act like an old lady. Sometimes I do. I just don't do that. That's the tail again. He's crawling all over the place. Maybe it's because I'm talking. That might be the whole thing. But anyway. But yeah, I don't credit Simply Earth for my skin now. I blame that on good genes. My mother had pretty skin. But it certainly has helped me, especially this winter. It's been so terribly cold. But I have hand cream. I made a hand cream last month that I absolutely love. I love that what they call the luxurious face cream. It feels luxurious. When you put it on your face, it just feels wonderful. It's very moisturizing, and it is luxurious. I've started using serums. I never used a serum before. Why add all that stuff when I'm going to be using a moisturizer? Well, the two work together. All these things I've learned while I've been with Simply Earth. So if you've ever been in doubt, if you've been interested in essential oils, not sure what to do with them, this is the place to start. If you sign up for the Simply Earth recipe box, you also get access to their training course, and you learn everything about essential oils. Okay, I'm going to start with the easiest first. I'm going to start with the Citrus Breeze foaming soap. So let me put this, I've got everything out on it. I should have done it one at a time, but I figured I'd save time. Now this is the soap dispenser that you can get from Simply Earth. It's PET plastic, which means it will not react with the essential oils that are going to be in it. And I like the size and the fact that it's clear. I might even add a little bit of color to it. So the directions say, add the foaming hand soap tablet to a 10-ounce foaming dispenser. So let me open that. And here's your tablet. It's like a big vitamin pill. So we'll put that in there. Pour in 10 ounces of distilled water. It says leaving a little room at the top. So we'll see, this is 10 ounces. We'll see how this goes into the foaming hand dispenser. That's perfect. Now I don't know if you can see. You see, I'm so not used to my camera at this angle, but it's beginning to fizz a little bit. Then we need to add the essential oils. So we're going to add 30 drops of lava. Well, that comes out fast. So that was 10, 20, and we'll see how this new cardstock does, because I dropped it. It still soaked it up, but it was easy. It doesn't look as bad. Okay, 25 drops of tangerine. That's 11. Tangerine, and 5 drops of basil. The basil kind of calms down the citrusy. It's a real pretty strong citrus smell right now. And the preservative. Now I keep GeoGuard ECT in my stash all the time. I have several bottles because it's a natural preservative. But since we're using water, we're going to need a preservative. It said 15 drops, and I think that was like 12. Gently swirl to combine. Let's see, that hasn't dissolved yet. I'm going to wait until this dissolves to show you how it works. And you will have to shake this. Every time you use it, you need to shake it because the oils will lay on top. You may be able to see that here. See how the oil is kind of sitting on top? So you want to shake it before you use it. But it's going to take a while for this to... I may have to come back later to show you how that ended up. Okay, so that, like I said, I started with the easiest one first. Okay, next I'm going to do the cotton candy sugar soap. And I'm going to put evidently it's not like a bar of soap, it's a different kind of soap. So it calls for 1/4 cup of sugar. That's something you'll need from your home. And it says 1 cube of the soap base. So you remember I said this had 6 cubes. So let's break off one. You can just push it from the bottom. And I'm going to, you can use it in a microwave. I'm going to just put it in my candy melter because I use that all the time for everything. I love this. And we're going to need to let that melt. So I'll put the camera on hold and while it melts. Okay, it's just about melted. Matter of fact, if I stir it, it will probably finish melting. But you don't want it to overheat. One thing about soap, if you ever make soap and it gets, if it starts to like boil, if it starts to bubble, you've ruined your soap. It'll still work like soap, but it's not going to look as pretty. So that's melted. Says to a pinch of mica powder. And I have these nifty little teaspoons here. And this one says a pinch. And the pinch is 1/16 of a teaspoon. So I'm glad they tell me that so I don't have to worry about figuring it out for myself. But this is a really handy set of measuring spoons. And I'll use the bag to level it off. Lucky I have a paper towel there to lay that on. So then you mix that into your soap. Until it's a uniform color. What a pretty color. All right, add the almond oil. And it calls for 2 tablespoons of almond oil. And I buy the big bottle of almond oil because I use it a lot. It's 1 tablespoon and 2 tablespoons. And we stir that. Now it's beginning to solidify. I thought the heat from the oil might do that. You just stick it back on the heat for a minute. When you add something cold, because it is kind of cool in my craft room, it cools it off and starts to re-harden. So I just need to let it re-melt. Okay, after this gets combined, I need to add the essential oils, but I need to wait because you don't want to heat this with the essential oils in it. Maybe doing this in a microwave would have been a little bit faster. When I'm doing something for myself, it doesn't matter, but now I don't hate for you guys to have to wait while this soap remelts. So it's just about melted. I'm going to leave it on there this time while I add the essential oil so we don't go through the same thing. Add the essential oils. Okay, so it's 8 drops of lava. Eight drops of sleepy. And 3 drops of tangerine. There's the tangerine. That tangerine just adds just a little bit to it. Just want to make sure this stays. I don't want it to get so hot that it will evaporate the essential oils. And then we add sugar. It says to add 1/4 of a cup of sugar. And I'm just going to add it in here. This is sort of like a sugar scrub, except it's a soap, which I like. I like that idea. And then it says to pour it into a 4-ounce. Oh, well, let me add the GeoGuard because I do want that to last. That's not the GeoGuard. Where did? Oh, here it is. About 15 drops. Just make sure everything's mixed in well. And then to pour it into a 4-ounce jar. Now what I do is I buy these little crystal cut ball jars. I buy a case of them. They're not very expensive. Or you can use any kind of jar, or Simply Earth sells plastic and glass jars. You can do that. This last part's beginning to harden. But you want it to harden here anyway. Now I'm going to let this sit for a minute, let it cool off, but I am going to put my label on it. This is the cotton candy sugar soap. And you always put the date on it so you know how long it's been sitting. And today is the 9th. I'll go ahead and put them on all of these. So this is 2/9/26. Okay, so this is the cotton candy sugar soap. It does look like cotton candy, doesn't it? So once this cools off and hardens a little bit, I'll show you how that works. Okay, I'll save the other. Okay, the next one I'm going to do is the Lava Love Soap Bar. Now, I went ahead and put it says 5 cubes of the melt and pour wax. So I went ahead and started the melting process so you wouldn't have to keep watching things melt. It's like watching water boil. And just a little tip, if you ever decide to do this on a regular basis, or if you use solid oils, you know, like coconut oil, or not coconut necessarily, but like cocoa butter or mango butter, they're rather hard to get out to measure. But if you melt them and pour them, you know, like measure a teaspoon to see how much a teaspoon would be, and then pour them into these little squares and then let them sit. It's got its own cover. Of course, you would take the glycerin, melt and pour off of it and put on here what's in it. And then you've got a nice way of handling smaller amounts of cocoa butter and things like that. Just a little extra tip. And this is almost melted. Another thing, it calls for a Simply Earth soap mold. With your first box, they will send you one of these molds. All right, now rather than take it out, I'm just going to turn the heat way down. I don't want to heat anymore. But it's melted. And again, where did I put my little teaspoons? Here they are. It calls for a pinch of mica powder. And this is the fuchsia. They're thinking Valentine's this month. Actually, I don't think I'm going to put quite as much as they did. Well, I ended up putting it all in there anyway. Some of them look a little too red for me. Let's see how this is going to look. It doesn't take much mica powder to add color to something. I'm going to take it out to put the essential oils in. That's pretty. It's almost a pearl-like color. Okay, and then we're going to add 8 drops of lava. And that's it, just the lava. So let's mix that in. And turn that off. And then it says to pour it into the soap mold, and it needs to sit for 1 to 2 hours for it to harden. But I like the swirl rather than it being a solid. So I'm going to pour it in here. Get as much as I can in there before it hardens. And then let that sit for 1 to 2 hours until it hardens. So since I've got so many things that need to dissolve or harden, or actually it looks like Well, let me show you something else, because I do see little bubbles. As a crafter, I keep a spray bottle of alcohol here because it comes in handy for so many things. And if you can see these little bubbles, let me see if I can come in a little bit. Can you see these little bubbles? If you spritz it lightly with alcohol, the bubbles disappear. I almost forgot the most important one. I was so interested in the soaps, I forgot about the Silky Hand Saver Balm. Now, after washing all these things, you have this balm that we're going to make that after you use, actually I can show you a tip after I'm finished. But let's just go ahead and make this balm. So it says, and I'm going to double it because I didn't have a 2-ounce jar, so I'm going to make a 4-ounce jar. So I'm going to double this recipe because this recipe is for a 2-ounce jar. But it's 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. The recipe says 1, but I'm going to need 2. And what I do, oh, my little thing is in there in the sink. Let me just use my little knife. I like to mash it down into the container and then kind of level it off. I do it a little at a time because I don't want it to shift in the spoon. But I want this to be a level tablespoon. I have learned the hard way. You know, when you cook, sometimes you just guesstimate, or you use the spoon, but you don't really care if it's a level teaspoon or tablespoon or whatever. With this, you almost have to. Otherwise, it might end up being a little bit firmer than you want it to be. Now I'm going to use my chocolate melter again. It's one of my favorite tools. I use it all the time because I can, under most circumstances, I can do everything here at my desk. Okay, that's 1 tablespoon. Like I said, I'm doubling this. And I'm not, you can see my jar is getting a little empty, but I'm not concerned because I get a new big bonus box next month. You get one every 6 months that you're subscribed, and I'll get a new jar of the coconut oil in that. And it won't cost me anything extra. Okay, so there's 2 tablespoons of solid coconut oil. Make sure I get all of it. Oh, I should have done this first because it calls for beeswax. And, well, let me just clean this spoon out. Beeswax will stick if you've got something wet in your measuring spoon. So hopefully, the beeswax also comes in your big bonus box. Simply Earth works really hard to help you to be ready to make any recipe at any time. Okay, and this calls for 1 tablespoon, so I'll do 2. So let me, and I'm going to do the same thing with the beeswax. Beeswax is really, when it dries really hard or cools really hard, And I have put too much beeswax in and not been able to spoon out whatever it was that I was trying to make. So that's one. I thought I saw a piece of beeswax drop, but if I did, I can't see it. So that's 2 tablespoons of beeswax. Recipe only calls for 1, but remember I'm doubling it. And 2 tablespoons of almond oil. So that means 4. So let's, now this I'll have to pause the camera for because beeswax melts at 150 degrees. And let me get my little, it's only 103. So it's going to take a while for this to melt. So I will just pause the camera and come back. Okay, just for fun, since I think I'm going to put this on next to my sink also, I added some of the fuchsia powder so that I've got the soap and then a lip balm, and they're going to be about this, not a lip balm, a hand balm, which is going to be about the same color, and the little bit of mica that's in here isn't going to make my hands pink. So I think it's about ready. I can still see little, it is 150 degrees. I did make a mistake. I wasn't supposed to put the almond oil in until after the beeswax and the coconut oil had melted. So it's taking longer because I added the almond oil ahead, and it's just more stuff for it to melt or heat up. Let me see. One thing about beeswax, you can see little shadows. If it's not totally melted, there'll be just like a little shadow of the little circles. And I don't see any of those little circles. Let me turn that off. I am going to have to let it cool a little bit before I put my essential oils in, because right now it's at 155 degrees. And you don't want it to be over 145 to put your essential oils in. So I'm just going to stir it to keep the heat even. I love that. It's like a pearl, pink pearl. I know you probably can't see the same that I do, but it is so pretty. Of course, there's nothing in my kitchen that's pink. But stirring helps it cool quicker. It's down to 148, so it's almost ready to add the essential oils. Now see, if I had waited and added the almond oil, it would have cooled it off automatically when I put the almond oil in, but I just jumped ahead too much. It's 144, so it's safe for me to put the essential oils in. And we're going to be using 12 drops of the Sleepy.
It is so cool. You ought to see the swirling going on with the mica powder. And then I'm going to pour it into this jar. And that's going to have to cool at room temperature. So since everything except this is ready, but I'll show you everything at the end. So don't go anywhere. I'll show you all the things that we made. I don't usually make the roll-on recipes because I have so many, but this one really touched me because it's the sweet slumber roll-on, and it uses the sleepy blend in here. And what I normally do is put the sleepy blend in my diffuser at night. So I thought, well, this would be much simpler, because then I would just take this and put it on my wrist. But I wanted to show you, this is the roller bottle that you get in your big bonus box. You get 6 of these. And I happen to have this little nifty tool that came as one of my bonuses one month. And I think it's towards the beginning of the month, of your subscription. But it helps you get these little things off like this, or taking the plugs out of essential oil bottles and things like that. But I'm going to just show you how easy it is to make a roll-on. So let me see. I'm going to put 4 drops of Sleepy right here in the bottle. And 2 drops of tangerine. That's an interesting combination. That's what I like about Simply Earth, that they come up with these blends together, and I would never have the imagination to come up with them on my own. But then you just fill the bottle up with fractionated coconut oil, which is also in your big bonus box. My dog just came in to visit. Probably heard her nails. And then you just put your little stopper back in. And I spilled it a little bit, so let me just wipe it off, because I don't want to. And this is what I use my alcohol for. Alcohol will clean up the oil on your bottle, so that anything that you want to put on here, a label or whatever, it'll stick. Otherwise the oil would repel it. So I keep things here for that reason only, just applying labels. And I put the top on. Let me shake it a little bit. Make sure we get the oils mixed with the coconut oil. I love fractionated coconut oil. It's so good for your skin, and yet it penetrates your skin. It doesn't lay on top or anything. It'll sink in, but it's a great moisturizer. And here's the Sweet Slumber Roll-On label. And it goes this way. There you go, and you've made your little roll-on. And then you just take it and roll it on your wrist. Smells good. Before you go to bed, and then I'll have it on my wrist. I may not need my diffuser when I'm sleeping. So that's how easy it is to make a roll-on, and I mean they're great. I've got them for all kinds of things. I can't tell you all the different roll-ons I've got. I've got relaxing roll-ons. I've got, I even have one for dogs that's safe for dogs that have a hot spot or an itchy spot. I have a roll-on that I made for those. I have, of course, being older, I'm losing some of my eyebrows, so I saw a recipe for eyebrow growth roll-on. So I made that, and by golly, it works. I use it, and my eyebrows are really growing in now. So that helps. I've got, I have one for wounds. I have a little place here where I hurt myself, and I just roll, every time I go into the bathroom, I'll just roll a little bit of that wound roll-on. There's so many things you can put in a roll-on. It's not just for fragrance. They really do help you do things. So I'm going to allow a little bit of time for these things to harden, the ones that need to harden, and then I'll be back and I'll show you what all we created. Okay, I'm going to show you the things that we made. If you remember, the first thing we made was the foaming bath hand soap, and I don't know if you can tell from this or not. You can kind of see that the oil has settled at the top. That's no problem. Just give it a couple of twirls like this. And now it's all mixed together. And let me show you the foam. How's that for foam? And of course you would use this to wash your hands. But like I said, I'm not at the sink, so I'm not going to wash my hands with this. So that was our Citrus Breeze foaming soap. This will go next to my kitchen sink because I've got one in my bathroom already. Now you'll see these spoons. These little spoons I use, I got them at Dollar Tree. They were a package of about 50, I guess, for $1.25. And yeah, they're plastic, but if you use one and then you break it, you have 49 others that you can pull out from. So I found this was, for me, the most economical way to use spoons. So the next thing we're going to do, we did, was the cotton candy sugar soap. And you see it is loose. And it's sort of like a sugar scrub consistency, but it's soap. And this would be really good, especially in the wintertime, for dry hands or on your feet, your ankles, your legs. It'll be good on anything. But let me just show you. You would take about this much and put it in your hands and then wet it. Just wet it and rub it like this, and it will not only clean, because it'll foam up, it is soap. It will not only clean, but it'll exfoliate your hands. And while we're on the subject, many years ago, I sold Mary Kay. And Mary Kay has a set that I don't know if they still have it, but they used to have a set called the Satin Hands set. And it was an exfoliator, a soap, and a balm, lotion, hand lotion or whatever. Well, this kind of combines two. This would be a combination of the soap and I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to have to leave and go to the sink to wash it off. But this balm is just wonderful. I tried it before I came on because I wanted to make sure it was going to work right. But if you take just a little bit of this, don't need much, that's plenty. And I'll clean the spoon off with my fingers. Now this is the sugar soap. And you just probably would help if I had a little bit of moisture. Actually, I do have, where's my water? I usually have a little spray bottle of water, but I think I used it somewhere else and I don't have it. Let me just put a little smidgen of this. I just need a little moisture. I'm going to mess up my display here with soap. Just a little bit of moisture. So when you're washing your hands, you would of course have your hands wet before you start. But just rub it and rub it, and then of course when you wet it, it's going to foam up. And it's going to get all of that dead, dry skin off of your hands. Now I'm going to have to go to the sink. So I'm going to turn the camera off and I'll be right back. Okay, already my hands feel better. It's so nice because there's just enough oil in there that it moisturizes your hands. But to make it even better, I'm going to use the Silky Hand Saver Balm. I'm going to keep the two of these together right next to my sink. And again, you don't need much. Put a little bit of that balm on, and it'll melt when it gets in your hands. And you can just rub it in. I'm not going to take the time for it to rub in, but I can already tell my hands are going to feel so good because they're so, all the dead skin's been taken off and now they're moisturized. And like I said, this takes a while to soak in. But just keep rubbing and it'll eventually soak into your skin. I'm just going to kind of wipe off the excess with a paper towel right now, since I don't have time to sit here and have you watch me rub my hands. But that's the Silky Hand Saver Balm. So I'm going to keep the two of these next to my kitchen sink, because that's where I am most of the time, is in the kitchen. I'm going to put them side by side. I'm going to have my 2 spoons, and they're going to go next to my sink. I'm sorry, this is getting all messed around. So those are the 2 things there. One of the other things we did was this Lava Love soap bar. And of course, when I took it out of the mold, I immediately dropped it on the floor and it got kind of marked up, but that's okay. It still will work as soap. But you can see it's got the Simply Earth logo on the top. And you will get one of the molds with your first recipe box. I have about 15 of them over there that I bought for, that's been included with different things. And of course, we had the Sweet Slumber roll-on. And I'm not ready for bed yet, but I'm going to do this anyway. And I don't know that you have to. I always shake my roll-ons before I use it. But I'm going to put that on my wrist. And I'm going to put it on this wrist. And I'm going to do it again when I go to bed tonight. And I think I'll be using this instead of having to fill my diffuser every night. So there you go. Those are the products that we made today. Wasn't that fun? I tell you, I just love making my own products and knowing what's in them and not having to worry about whether there's anything in it that could, that would harm me or my house. So I'm just really happy. This is one of my favorite. I think my favorite is probably, well, I don't know. I have 3 favorites. I have the soaps. I like the soaps, I like the face care, and I like the body care. The others I love too, but those are my favorites, and I'm always doing stuff for that. So, hope you liked this. I certainly did, as you could tell. So, if you are interested in this recipe box or any other products, if you use my link that's down below to get to the Simply Earth website, and it also identifies that it came from me. If you subscribe to the recipe box, you'll get $15 off. So instead of $44.99, it's going to be $29.99. And you'll get the big bonus box. You'll get a $45 gift card to use, and all for $29.99. So you can't beat that. But you need to you go from the link below, and then I have a coupon code, which is at checkout is where you put the coupon code, and that's the one that gives you the $45 gift certificate. So I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. I just love Simply Earth, and this has just been such a treat for me. So thanks again. I will hopefully see you soon. I was going to do my recipes separate and then changed at the last minute and decided to do them with my box opening. So have a great day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and let's get rid of those toxins. Bye-bye.